Good afternoon. This is the Magistrate Division of the 7th Judicial District of the state of Idaho, Fremont County. My name is Judge Edens. We're going to call the case of CV 2220-838, State of Idaho versus Lori Vallow, aka Lori Daybell. Mr. Means, your client wishes to be referred to as Miss Daybell. Is that correct? The person in charge of the camera there with Miss Daybell will have to unmute that and be ready to do that. Why don't you just leave it unmuted there?
Can you hear me now, Your Honor?
I can.
Thank you. She would like to be referred to as Mrs. Daybell.
All right, we'll do so. This matter is being held via Zoom. This is the initial appearance on new charges that have been filed here in Fremont County. Present in this Zoom meeting, I have myself. I have Mr. Wood, who is the prosecuting attorney that's been assigned to this matter. I have the clerk. I have the court reporter. I have Kelsey and Colby Ryan. I have support from IT department. And then I also have Mr. and Mrs. Woodcock and the defendant, Miss Daybell, as well as her attorney, Mr. Means. Mr. Means, any objection to having this hearing via Zoom as directed by the Supreme Court order pertaining to COVID-19?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Wood, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll proceed then. Miss Daybell, do you read, speak, and understand the English language?
Yes.
Miss Daybell, did you get a copy of a notification of rights form prior to the hearing here today?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to review that notification of rights with your attorney?
Yes.
Do you understand all of your legal rights here today?
Yes.
Miss Daybell, did you also receive a copy of the warrant for your arrest as well as the amended criminal complaint that has been filed in this matter?
Yes.
Mr. Means, does your client want a formal reading of the amended criminal complaint, or can I summarize it for her here today?
A summary would be great, Your Honor.
All right. The amended criminal complaint was filed on June 30th, 2020. It is case number CR 2220-838 on an amended criminal complaint. There are 2 counts that have been alleged in the criminal complaint. I'm going to summarize those. Count 1 is the allegation of the charge of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence. That is a felony under Idaho law, a violation of Idaho Code 182603 and 18-1701. It is punishable by up to 5 years in the state penitentiary and or up to a $10,000 fine. Ms. Daybell, it alleges that the following: the defendants Chad Guy Daybell, Lori Vallow, and or another person or persons on or between the 22nd day of September 2019 and the 9th day of June 2020 in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, and elsewhere, did willfully and knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence in a felony proceeding, inquiry, and or investigation authorized by law, with the intent to prevent it from being so produced, used, and or discovered, to wit, the human remains of J.J. Vallow, which is in violation of Idaho Code Section 182603 and 181701. Overt acts in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, and to effect the objects thereof. One or more of the following overt acts were committed by one or more of the subjects of the conspiracy within Fremont County or elsewhere in the state of Idaho. Number 1, on or about November 26, 2019, Chad Guy Daybell misrepresented the nature of his relationship with Lori Vallow while questioned by the Rexburg Police Department during a lawful investigation regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow. Number 2, on or about November 26, 2019, Chad Guy Daybell contacted Melanie Gibb via phone for the purpose of requesting and or encouraging non-cooperation with law enforcement's lawful investigation regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow. Number 3, on or about November 26, 2019, Lori Vallow provided a false and or misleading physical location of J.J. Vallow to law enforcement during a lawful investigation. Number 4, on or about November 26, 2019, Lori Vallow contacted Melanie Gibb via phone for the purpose of requesting and or encouraging non-cooperation with law enforcement's lawful investigation regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow. Number 5, on or about November 26, 2019, Lori Vallow contacted Melanie Gibb via phone for the purpose of requesting and or encouraging Melanie Gibb to prepare and or present false evidence to law enforcement regarding the whereabouts of J.J. Vallow during a lawful investigation. Number 6, on or between the dates of January 30th, 2020 and June 9th, 2020, Lori Vallow refused and or did fail to comply with a court order to produce her minor child, to wit, J.J. Vallow, to the Rexburg Police Department or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare in Madison County case number CV 3320-45. Ms. Daybell, do you understand the alleged charge, the allegation, as well as the maximum penalty in count 1?
She said yes, Your Honor.
All right, we'll move on to count 2 then. Count 2 is also a charge of conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, a felony, a violation of Idaho Code Section 182603 and 181701. It's punishable by that same amount, up to 5 years in the state penitentiary and up to a $10,000 fine. It alleges the defendants Chad Guy Daybell, Lori Vallow, and or another person or persons on or between the 9th day of September 2019 and the 9th day of June 2020 in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, and or elsewhere did willfully and knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence in a felony proceeding, inquiry, and or investigation authorized by law, with the intent to prevent it from being so produced, used, and or discovered, to wit, the human remains of Tylee Ryan, which is in violation of Idaho Code Sections 182603 and 181701. Overt acts. In furtherance of the conspiracy to commit destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, and to affect the objects thereof, one or more of the following overt acts were committed by one or more of the subjects of the conspiracy within Fremont County and or elsewhere. Number 1, on or about September 9th, 2019, Chad Guy Daybell sent text messages to another for the purpose of disguising the destruction, alteration, and or concealment of the human remains of Tylee Ryan on his property. Number 2, on or about November 26, 2019, Lori Vallow provided false information to law enforcement regarding Tylee Ryan's attendance at BYU, Idaho, and or her current housing situation. Number 3, on or between the dates of January 30th, 2020 and June 9th, 2020, Lori Vallow refused and or did fail to comply with a court order to produce her minor child, Tylee Ryan, to the Rexburg Police Department or the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare in Madison County case number CV 3320-45. Ms. Daybell, do you understand the charge in count 2 and the maximum penalty associated with that?
Yes.
Ms. Daybell, do you understand that those 2 penalties could run consecutively, one after the other, or they could run concurrent, meaning at the same time?
Yes.
Ms. Daybell, based upon the charges that have been brought against you and the fact that they are felony charges, you're entitled to a preliminary hearing or a probable cause hearing. Mr. Wood and Mr. Means, we have discussed this matter prior to going on the record. It's my understanding that both are in agreement that a preliminary hearing should take no more than 2 days. Is that correct, Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Means, do you agree?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, looking at the calendar, the court is available on August 10th and 11th. Does that work for the counsel for the state?
Yes.
Mr. Means, does that also work for you?
It does, Your Honor.
All right, we'll schedule the preliminary hearing to begin right at 9 a.m. on August 10th and continue if necessary to August 11th. Ms. Daybell, I have set your bond in the arrest warrant that you have there in front of you, and I've set bond at $1 million. Mr. Means, I'm not going to take up that matter here today. If you'd like to file any motion to deal with that in the future, that can be dealt with. Do you wish to be heard on that matter?
Yeah, Your Honor, we can reserve the matter for a later time.
All right. If bail is posted in the amount of $1 million, the following conditions will be put in stone that need to be followed along with posting bond if Ms. Daybell is going to be released. Number one, she must sign a waiver of extradition provided by the Fremont County Office of the Sheriff. The prosecutor must approve the waiver of extradition by his signature on the waiver. A copy of the waiver of extradition must be filed with the court. Number two, the defendant shall reside within the boundaries of Bonneville, Jefferson, Madison, and Fremont counties within the state of Idaho. The defendant shall not leave these counties for any reason. Number three, the defendant shall provide the court with her current address and shall not change her address without notifying the court. Number four, the defendant shall keep regular contact with her attorney. Number five, the defendant shall appear for all court appearances. Number six, the defendant shall obey all laws of the state of Idaho and the United States. Number seven, the defendant will sign up for pretrial services with Fremont County and check in with pretrial services on a weekly basis or as directed by the pretrial services. Number eight, the defendant shall have absolutely no contact with the victim's families and or any of the state's witnesses in this case. Contact shall include, but not be limited to, verbal contact, written contact, visual contact, text messaging contact, email or internet contact, and or telephonic contact. Such contact shall also include contact through third parties. Number nine, the defendant must wear an ankle monitor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She must have the ankle monitor in place before she is able to be released from the Madison County Jail, which is holding her for Fremont County. Any violations of the geographical limitations imposed herein must be reported immediately to the Fremont County Sheriff's Office and the court. Number 10, the defendant is hereby notified that while under the order to wear an ankle monitor, intentionally leaving the area of restriction, except for the purpose of obtaining emergency medical care, may be prosecuted as a crime of escape and subject the defendant to penalties under Idaho Code Sections 182505 and or Idaho Code Section 182506 and Idaho Criminal Rule 46E3. Mr. Means, does your client have any questions about the conditions of bond were she to post bond or be eligible to post bond?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I have received a notification of rights form that has been signed by Ms. Daybell. Mr. Means, I think I received this before she had a chance to meet with you. You've reviewed this notification of rights as well, is that correct?
I have, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Daybell, just so we're clear, you're being represented by Mr. Means and you're retaining him privately, is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Means, the court is inclined to ask one question here today. Number one, because the charge that's been listed here in the information does pertain to conspiracy, Mr. Means, have you ever represented any of the alleged co-conspirators that are set forth in the criminal complaint?
No, Your Honor, other than Mrs. Daybell.
Okay. All right. With that,
Your Honor, I need to interject. At a bail reduction here in Madison County, Mr. Means did represent to the court. He was also representing Mr. Vallow. Now or Mr. Daybell. He didn't represent, there was no criminal matter against him at that time, but I do think that's appropriate to know.
all right, it sounds like there's a disagreement there. What I'm going to ask the parties to do, ultimately, there's a question of whether or not a conflict exists. And I'm going to ask each of the parties to submit what their request is regarding that issue so that the court can make a decision as soon as is possible and as soon as is necessary based upon that issue. Anything else that we need to take up here today, Mr. Wood?
Not from the state.
Mr. Means, anything else that we need to take up here today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Madam Clerk, is there anything that I've forgotten here? All right, we'll be in recess pending. Mr. Wood, did you raise your hand there?
No.
Okay. We'll be in recess pending that hearing on August the 10th and 11th. Thank you all for appearing here today. We'll close up.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.